ID4Africa 2018 was a historical milestone in many ways. Some may say it was because it broke all records in terms of the number of attendees, in terms of the number of exhibitors, in terms of the depth of the program and the number of speakers. But I think it was much more than that. ID4Africa 2018 was a different experience. It was a phased transition. We went from being a movement that impacted predominantly technical people around Africa to being a movement that caught the attention of the political establishment and that has received tremendous political engagement and support. I think being able to bring the agenda of identity to the highest level, the highest political level in the African nations, is an important step, and it happened here in Nigeria. And I believe going forward we will never be the same, because we've managed to elevate the agenda of identification in Africa to national priorities and regional priorities and African priorities. I think what happened in 2018 was also a major alignment between what the movement is heading into, the directions of the movement, and also the state of development of the host country. We came to Nigeria with the idea that our theme was going to be and is the harmonization of identity schemes. So we were here talking about harmonization while the country is going through the exercise of harmonization. So there was an incredible resonance between us and the host country, which contributed to making sure that our discussion is not theoretical, but actually had immediate impact. There were people coming out of the sessions and going out to their offices and saying, this is how we should do this. So we found ourselves in a basically a country in the middle of a workshop, and we were driving that workshop. And I think that resonance is incredible. It taught us a lot of lessons. I think another qualitative thing that happened in 2018, which is new, is the idea of the ecosystem. The idea that ID4Africa is not an event. It's even beyond an experience. It is an ecosystem. It is a meeting place of many, many different stakeholders that come together into a highly concentrated area, but many of them engage in the aspects of the problem that concern them and that impact their daily missions. And so that ecosystem will remain with us. The lessons that we've learned in 2018 will help us continue to be strong, impactful, and pertinent. It's not a linear program where you come and attend. It is truly a movement, meeting of the minds around the topic, which has many, many tentacles. By any means, this is a historical milestone. For as long as the journey continues towards legal identity for all, this will be remembered as a phased transition. Today we've announced that the next stop along the path, along the journey towards legal identity for all that the movement is taking, will be in Johannesburg, South Africa. We're very excited about that announcement because it's the logical next stop after Nigeria. Nigeria was about harmonization of identity schemes. They are harmonizing. Now, after Nigeria finishes harmonizing, they need to go into the ecosystem of identity and start building services, which is something that South Africa is already starting to do now. So when we arrive in South Africa, there is a natural progression in the need. We're taking with us the countries that are still harmonizing and building ecosystems and introducing them to the future, which is building the ecosystem in order to support services. What good is identity if it does not enable you to empower your actions and simplify your life? And that's what we'll be doing in South Africa. It's the logical progression, and I think The South African government was very, very positive about hosting this movement, and it does take muscle to host a movement of this size. I mean, the shoulders of Nigeria were broad, and we're able to take that many delegates in such a short period of time that arrived in this country, over 1,600 people. So we need countries like South Africa that have the depth and the breadth to be able to host a movement on our size. To a big extent, many came to ID4Africa having high expectations. And I think they're walking out of ID4Africa having had all their expectations met, if not exceeded, and have built expectations for the next year even higher. I think they've changed ID4Africa, and ID4Africa changed them because of the depth of the engagement that we saw from everybody who is here. This was an intense journey, intense period of interaction, and I think starting tomorrow, every single one of us is back at it, working to continue pushing the movement forward and to prepare for our next stop on this journey. So I think everybody is walking away from this with such tremendous enthusiasm, but recognizing the responsibility that is in our hands. We have now been entrusted by mainstream, and we have to deliver. One of the things that people commented on here in Nigeria was the extent to which we have gone mainstream. If you go to the boulevards in Abuja, you will see signs, even neon signs that were flashing day and night saying ID4Africa, harmonization of identity schemes. These were seen by the general public, and the general public is starting to ask questions. What does it mean? We've received a lot of questions. What is this about? Buses marked ID4Africa, driving around town carrying delegates from the airport to the hotels to the venue, etc. So I think that level of exposure to the mass public brings with it a certain level of responsibility, because we have to deliver to them on that expectation. They expect to be included in the fruits of development, and sometimes they are impatient. Sometimes they say, when will I be enrolled? When will I be? And luckily, the president in this country actually responded to that. He said, we will be enrolling up to 70 million people by December of this year, and 90 million people in a year from today. So to make that kind of engagement, it means all of us, including the senior political leadership, plus the management of NIMSI, plus ID4Africa as a movement, because we were the catalysts to get the president to make such type of commitment to the public. And I think it behooves us to make sure that we deliver on those commitments. Our motto is no one left behind. We want to include everybody in the fruits of the identity revolution. And I'm excited to say that we have succeeded to make a giant leap forward.